Hello and welcome to the AFL Today Show, your one-stop shop for all things AFL. I'm your host, Liam McAllion, also known as the Stats Guy, and season 2025 is almost here, which means AFL Supercoach is almost here. We've brought in the big guns today, or maybe one big gun, Supercoach expert Al Paton. Welcome, Al, to the AFL Today Show.
Liam, thanks for having me.
Thanks for jumping back on. You've been on in a few times, and just Supercoach is right around the corner.
Yeah, it seems far too close. We've got some actual matches now, or pre-season official games that we can watch, get some scores, and start pulling our teams to pieces, I think is what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. After the first official pracky last night, I've already changed my team a lot. We've also got, I'm going to call him Supercoach Nuffy. He loves a bit of Supercoach.
Yes, Supercoach Nuffy. That's Mullaly. Let's just say, look, I had a shower today and a bunch of my hair fell out because I was just absolutely stressing over the changes I have to make to my Supercoach team.
Oh my God. That's the stress around this time.
Is that the nerdiest thing I've ever said?
No, you've said some nerdier stuff. I think Cricket Today Show, shout out to that one as well. You say a few things on there. Yeah, we're going to cover a lot today. Just whole things Supercoach. Forget about other news. Everything is related to Supercoach. The love, the hate you get for a player when they're scoring 100 or they score 60, things like that. So we're going to go through Supercoach news. We're going to go through the injuries. That could genuinely take about half an hour.
We need a separate show for it.
What is going on, Al, with these injuries?
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. I'm looking at my team. You'll see you've already made changes. I log in this morning and there's about 5 guys in there who I have to take out. So
that's absolutely brutal.
Yeah, I mean, it's chaotic, but that's why we love it.
Yep, absolutely. So we're going to go through injury chaos, as I just said, some must-haves, rookies, who to avoid, players that we just would never again is just, we could go for a long time on that one as well. So let's get into it. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, AFL Today Show. Follow AFL Today AU on the socials. Leo's putting a lot of stuff up on there. We've got predictions coming out of the wazoo. We've got predictions everywhere, some big calls that we're getting roasted on every single day, which I absolutely love. So
Rightly so.
And yeah, get around this wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Supercoach AFL news. Just some simple stuff to start with if you're not familiar with the Supercoach AFL season. It actually starts in round 1 after opening round. But Al, we got the player break-evens and prices come into effect from the opening round, correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
So the teams are playing opening round. That basically is a free hit for us. We can get to see them, what they look like. Some of these bombers from last night. Is Kako going to do that again in opening round? Yes, let's lock him in. Or if something bad happens, we've got a chance to take him out. And your teams are actually locked in for that first round 1 game, Richmond v Carlton, March 13, I think it is.
Yep.
And that's when the official scoring starts. So your actual head-to-head matches, all these kinds of things. But as you said, the points that they score in opening round will be calculated into their prices and their break-evens and their price changes. So
perfect.
That gives us a little bit of a heads up. If a cheap player scores really well, we kind of know that's going to be part of their first price change. So, maybe jump on.
Perfect. Yeah. So opening round, Leo, you're just going to be looking at who you're going to go for.
Last year kind of played me a bit dirty. I watched it. I was watching Brodie Grundy just absolutely dominate. Then he didn't really live up to those heights for the rest of the year. So I got to really watch with caution this year.
Kitty Coleman, I remember last year as well. Everyone's on him again this year and he's injured. But it's just the start of the season. Everyone's like, Kitty Coleman, he's cheap. He's ready to go. He's injured again. Yeah. That's just brutal. Talking about the new things in Supercoach. We've got the new flex position, which... Well, I know what it's all about, but how would you describe the flex position?
I mean, that is the biggest change in Supercoach probably for a while. There's now an extra player. So instead of 30 in your squad, you've got 31. Mm-hmm. So if you're seeing your team on the screen there, right down the bottom, there's a position called flex. You can stick anybody in there. They can be a defender, a ruckman, forward, whatever. So it gives you an extra player in your team. And then the key thing that comes with that is that every week you'll have 23 players on field, but only your best 22 scores count. Perfect. So really it's some insurance if you get a player subbed out or laid out, injured really early in the game. Some people are calling it the Tom Green rule after last year. He was injured about 5 minutes into the game against Sydney, I think it was. He only had 5 points. So that just kills your whole weekend. But this time that score would probably drop out, not count to your weekly score. So there's some real keen super coaches are really trying to work the strategy, thinking, how can we use this? Can I get an extra ruckman in there? There's a few different ways people are playing it. So it'd be really interesting to see how it plays out once the season starts. But I think it's a great innovation.
It's great fun. And who are you leaning towards in your flex position now? A bit of a random question now. But it's tough. Yeah, it
is. I mean, at the moment, I think it's just the best rookie or cheap sort of cash cow that I can't fit in somewhere else. And we'll probably get to this, but there are some really good ones, especially in the midfield, even the forward line this year. Especially if you're prepared to pay a little bit extra for someone like Elijah Sardis. We saw last night scored really well. So maybe the flex is a way to just get that extra cash cow in and get their scores on the field, because it's always annoying early in the year when that guy might be stuck on your bench. But then I think it will evolve as the season goes on, and then by the end of the season, you want to have an extra gun scorer in there. So how we get to that player. Will be fascinating to see how people use it.
No, absolutely. Leo, we used it a bit in Supercoach BBL for when we were doing cricket today and a few other things. So that was really good, but it was a bit tricky sometimes just to figure out the person that was in there. Yeah,
it was good. It was good to sort of use BBL as like a tester for like AFL in a sense, because we were new to it, trying to work out the best strategy for it. Yeah, and I think we're kind of getting there. So hopefully this AFL season we can put it to good use. But Stats Guy, I want to put it back on you actually, because this is the flex position. Can you give me your best flex or the double cobble?
No,
come on, straight down the barrel. Come on,
you've done that. Yeah, all right. There we go. There's not much muscle on this side of the table, that's for sure. I don't know about that one. How have I even done that? How was that on camera? Well done. I was literally thinking about yesterday doing that to you, and you've done that to me. So
there you go.
Fair play. All right, that's enough of that. But enough of flexes. We don't want to see me flex again. Let's get into the injuries now. This is the saddest part of the day. How long we got? You're right, Al. I've written down what have I written down? About 10 different injuries here, and there's probably more that I haven't even written down. But Supercoach specific ones. A big one that was just even yesterday or the day before. Callum Mills, really cheap option, 357,000. I'm sure everyone had it. Did you have him in your team?
He's still there now, but I have to get him out.
Oh, it's just brutal at the moment. We got Jagger Smith. All the Blues fans. Like, I don't like Carlton, but I wanted to see him play. I think a lot of fans wanted to see him play, and he was just a lock. Like, he was that guy from the draft that you're like, you got to have him in your team. So that's a bit brutal.
Yeah, devastating. So out for the year.
Out for the year. Zach Butters, who I just found out last night, he was going to be my must-have, but not anymore. So 648,000, very expensive, but he's going to miss at least the first couple of rounds.
I think injury it's a bit uncertain, bit of knee soreness.
I think.
Yeah, going to have an arthroscope. So they're saying definitely will miss the first game, and then not sure for how long after that. So you can't start him.
You can't start him. And then the other one that I'm pretty sure everyone had, 269,000 for Kitty Coleman, was just an absolute steal. This is the last 2 seasons. I just wanted him in my team so badly. I reckon he could easily average 100 plus. But yeah, no good again. And then a random one I had in there from the start. You're a Richmond man now. Josh Gibkiss. I still think maybe later in the season, but yeah, what are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's had all these injuries early in his career, and they are definitely not rushing him. So I think the latest is that maybe round 5 or 6 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So definitely they're taking their time with him. So you can't put him in your starting team, but I mean, we do need rookies during the year, so he could be a handy one down the track. Sam Lawler as well, the number 1 draft pick, may play round 1, but probably not.
Jaw, wasn't it?
Broke his jaw in the last contest of that. It was a Monday morning game somewhere in WA. I mean, to get hurt in the last minute of the game. That was pretty brutal after he really showed a lot. So, I think he's another one that you probably have to rule out. Probably some slight silver lining, if we can count it as that, is Bailey Smith didn't play last night, so there's a bit of panic stations there. He's in nearly everyone's team, but Geelong saying he will play back for opening round, and that's the good thing about opening round, where we'll hopefully get a look at him there before Supercoach sort of starts for real in round 1. So surely he'll be ready.
Surely he'll be playing, and everyone will have him on. The other one was we got Sam Law. Surely you can play with a broken. You don't need your draw. You just use your hands, your legs.
Put a helmet on.
Put a reverse helmet. It's like that. Then what else we got? Sam Flanders. I think was out at least the first round, or they haven't confirmed that yet.
I mean, that's been a bit of a mystery, but he hasn't played really in all of the preseason, so I think it'd be too risky to pick. Yep.
Another one I was talking about with Alex, because he's also got plantar fasciitis, which is Nick Dacos, 631,000. He's still in 43% of teams, but I don't know if I'm willing to take the risk on him with an interrupted preseason.
Well, that's the only thing. There was talk of that over sort of Christmas, and he was just on the bike for a couple of sessions there, but he's been back in full training for a few weeks. He looked fantastic in their sort of scratch match the other day. So we'll get to see him in the AAMI series, and he's going to be pretty hard to resist. I think it's just that he has the round 3 bye, which is a really tricky one. So you probably just don't want too many of those guys in your team. So maybe that's a reason to avoid him to start. But as you say, he's going to be in plenty of teams. So if he gets off to an absolute flyer, it's going to be tough not having him.
I know, exactly. He's going to go up in price. Have you got him, Leo? Nick Dacos?
Well, when I first made my team, like the first team off the rank, I did have him in, but obviously concerned with that injury. And then the bye just kills you, I reckon. I know you get a look at him in the opening round, but I reckon he's one that maybe dips a little and then you jump on him. Yeah, because in an ideal world.
Yeah, because people have like Perryman, Houston, a few people are going towards. There's a few others from Collingwood, but that buys.
You got Geelong as well, Bailey Smith, Sydney. So I mean, Callum Mills, I guess, being out, that maybe frees you up a little bit. But there's a lot of Supercoach relevant teams, unfortunately, all missing in the same week.
Yeah. All right. That's enough of the negatives. We've talked about the injuries. Let's get into some positives and who you should pick in your team. Mainly listen to Al. Leo and I are just here for our good looks. Just vibing.
Definitely not good looks.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We'll start with this one. Must-have. So when you're making your team, who's the first player you are picking? I'll start with you, Al.
Clayton Oliver for me. When you see that price, $451,000, that is, for context, about $200,000 cheaper than he was last year. So obviously he had a bit of a year from hell last year, a lot of stuff going on off the field. He didn't have a preseason at all, which always makes it difficult. And then he had some injury niggles during the year as well. It's actually crazy that he played about 20 games in the end. But his scoring was nowhere near what we're used to from him. He went about 6 years in a row, averaging 120. And from what we've seen in the preseason, I think he can get back to maybe not quite that high, but certainly well above what he's priced at.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's an absolute steal in the midfield.
No, I like that. I think, that was one of my first picks as well. He's just, I think he could do a few things off the field, and you're not sure what he's going to play every single game, but he can, do really well this season. Leo?
Well, I've kind of taken your thunder a little bit, stats guy.
I did say this the other day. Yeah.
Gone with Harry Sheasel, 635,000, averaged 118 last season, and that includes a lot of time off halfback. If he's playing full-time midfield, full-time midfield is very tasty. I like that. I think he can stay around that price, even go up by the end of the season. So he's a must-have. Number one defender at the moment. Yeah,
I reckon he could be up there. Or like obviously him and Bont. You got Bont up there, but him just behind Bont. What do you reckon, Sheezer? Can he be in the top few players?
Yeah, I mean he's an interesting guy. And I mean the bottom line is he's just so good, and he'll score wherever he plays. So last year we know he played halfback, and that is, especially in North Melbourne, a ticket to
it comes out
35 disposals every game. Just the way they play, they love to share it around back there and get a heap of kick-ins and things like that. So he was scoring really well. And then he moved into the midfield where it's a little bit harder maybe, but it only took him a couple of weeks to adjust. And then he came home like an absolute steam train. He was scoring about 130, I think, average over his last month or so. And that included playing sort of basically midfield half forward, which is I think where he will play this year.
That's the only worry I have with Clarko, sometimes putting him half forward. But when he was playing half forward, he was kicking a couple of goals.
Exactly, that's the thing. You can have real maximum impact with your possessions, scoreboard impact, which Supercoach, the formula really rewards that. So, yeah, he's definitely locked into my defence.
Yep, I love this Supercoach show. We get to talk about North, my team. So, the fact that my must-have is another North player, which I put in last second. I had Butters in there because I love Butters, but he's going to be injured. Tristan Sherry, the X-Man, the man with the helmet. Second most in total points last season, which is unbelievable. Most improved by an absolute mile in Supercoach. 645,900. You go, ooh, that's a bit steep. But I got Bont and him. I've just put them straight in my side because I think ruck is just so important. You got Gorn, I think, is my other ruck.
The old set and forget.
The set and forget ruck. I just want them. They're going to get 120 every week, and I don't have to worry about him, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But he's going to be the number one ruck at North. No, he gets so many hit-outs to advantage. He gets clearances, and hopefully he can hit the scoreboard as well.
He gets tackles, too.
Tackles? I forgot about tackles.
Amazing. When you look at the stats, he's averaged last year 7.5 tackles a game, which is miles ahead of any other ruckman. So, we know that's great for Supercoach scoring. So, if he's tapping it down and then just smashing the bloke who picks it up, win-win.
Yep. No, good call. I completely forgot about the tackles. He just does it all. It's
because he taps it to the opposition. It's like, oh, crap, I have to tackle him.
Yeah, well, because our mids don't always get it.
Now, look, he is like another midfielder. That's what he is. So. Give him the DPP, I reckon.
Mid-ruck.
Mid-ruck.
First ever mid-ruck.
No, Blitz Subs.
Oh, Blitz Subs? Yeah, true. Forgot about that one. All right, I think this is the most talked about, one of the most talked about years ever for rookies. So rookies, we had a lot of chat about North in the must-haves. I think this is all mainly Essendon after last night's game. So who are you starting with for your rookies?
I think it is the year of the Essendon rookie now. We all get sucked in by the first Amy game and you want to pick about 6 of them. But seriously, there's a lot of really great options there. And I did mention Elijah Sardis. I think this is the year he gets a real go in the midfield. It's, I think, his third season at AFL level. He's only played 11 senior games. Last year he was the sub virtually every time he played. So still super cheap. But he's had an absolutely brilliant preseason. There's maybe a bit of an opening there with Dylan Shield going down to halfback. Darcy Parish is injured. We're not sure when he'll be back. So I think to get at the start of the season, they'll let him in there and just see what he can do. And based on the preseason, I think he can deliver some really good scores for us.
He had like 31 disposals, 10 clearance. I didn't think he had that. I know it's a pracky match, but I didn't think he had that in him just yet. He was just an absolute freak. Do you have Sardis at the moment, Leo?
I did bring him in this morning.
Yeah. And then someone will get 30 disposals. Oh, I'll bring him in. Like Mitch Nevitt. Actually, no, Nevitt was last night. But there's a few other ones out there. Who you got? Another Essendon man.
Yes, I've gone Isaac Kako, 149,000. I loved what I saw from him last night. Should have had 5 goals. Sammy Draper, you are a disgrace. Absolute disgrace kicking that through. He has excellent job security, small forward position. 100%. Like Essendon, they have no one else there. Maybe Alwyn Davey, but like
especially Stringer being out. I know he's not a small forward, but it's another.
Wolfie's injured as well.
It's all going to be Kako, isn't it, down there? His scoring potential does concern me, but I think if he can just have that one sort of game like he had last night in the first couple rounds.
And I think this is like flex is so good for a player like him because he's a sort of guy who you're never sure, when do I put him on the field, when do I put him on the bench, and one game he'll do this and score 100, but then the next week he might not get the opportunities and he doesn't score so much. But having that lower score drop out just gives you the extra chance to put someone like this on, and you reap the reward when it does pay off.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. The rookie, just chuck the rookie in the flex, and then you don't have to worry about it too much if you want him on your bench. Or I really like that. My one, this is Alex behind the camera, is on this show. He'd be loving this one. Harvey Langford, 181,000, averaged 152 Supercoach points in the Coates Talent League. That's just insane. I think he had 25.
Is the Coates League AFL though?
No, of course it's not AFL. But that's even if you just halve that, I'll take that.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I know. I think he had over 125 of the 29 games in that league. So just absolute star. I reckon he's going to make immediate impact. I think, especially with the issues with Petrarca. Clary obviously wasn't as good last year, and Melbourne, they've lost a bit of depth the last couple of seasons.
And they have talked about trying to get some new blood through the midfield. I think Max Gore maybe spoke about how they were a little bit same in there. Obviously, they had one of the best midfields in the AFL, but maybe the opposition figured them out a little bit. So maybe Trent Rivers coming in and trying to move some of these youngsters as well. So, and if you look at him, he looks like he's just ready to go.
Oh, he looks so good, so strong. Like he's going to burst out the pack. So 181,000, I don't mind because he's even you save 20,000 on a few of the other rookies. Actually, Trent Rivers, you just mentioned it. It's just spinning in my head. I saw a few of your shows, Zal, the actual official Supercoach show, mentioning Trent Rivers. I don't know which side of you're on that, but I don't know about Trent Rivers.
Yeah, and I'm not 100% convinced, but at least you could pick him in defence, and maybe with Mills going down, we might need someone around that price.
True.
One to consider.
That price is just so annoying. That's going to annoy me. Next one. People love talking about this as well. Cash cows. So obviously people that are pretty low in price that are going to make you lots of money. So cash cows here. Oh, we've got some mail from an ex-player, Al.
Yeah, so Lee Montagna is the new Supercoach ambassador this year, and we had him on the podcast last week, and he dropped some mail, especially around the Saints. He obviously knows what's going on down there, and he mentioned a few of their youngsters, and then when we see them play on the practice match on the weekend, it's like tick, tick, tick. All the guys that he mentioned. Max Hall's a real cheapie in the forward line who played well. Angus Hasty played about 3 games last year, but he looked really good. So there's a few options there, cheapies, and the one that I really love is Hugo Garcia. So he's 245,000 because he played half a dozen games last year. A lot of those were as the sub. Little cameos where he just came on in the last quarter and looked really good. But this year, it looks like he's really moved up the pecking order to get a regular start in the midfield. And he just is an absolute tackle machine. Averages about 10 or 11 tackles a game in the VFL. So, you've sort of got, that's, such a great base to work off for Supercoach scoring. So I really like what Hugo can do for us. And he's actually sitting in my flex at the moment.
Oh, in your flex? Very nice. That's actually there's a lot of Saints guys running around in my head. I think I've got Ari Schoenmaker, was even discussed on your show as well. What are your thoughts on him, or is he a bit of more of a risk?
Yeah, I don't think he didn't play in that practice match on the weekend, so that's a little bit of an alarm bell. So we'll see if he makes the team for maybe the Amy series.
I think I just like him because he can kick it 80.
He looks amazing.
That's all. Because he can kick it really far. What's your cash cow, Leo?
Another North play, Caleb.
I know. We don't talk about North this much on our normal show, but we really bring Supercoach.
They're a very Supercoach relevant side.
I love it.
Caleb Daniel, 269,000, break even of 50. There's just every indication possible that he will be North's #1 distributor out of defence.
Yeah, he actually can kick and hit a target.
And as you mentioned, Al, North, they love to chip it around back there and just rack up the points. So I think that's going to be huge cash gen. I wouldn't be surprised if he's 450, 500.
Oh, yeah.
He could be the top scoring forward this year in Supercoach.
Genuinely
Daniel, I mean, because you look at that North defence, the guys they've had there the last few years, and we saw Sheasel do it before him, Jack Zeeble was great back there, even Aaron Hall. I mean,
Zeeble was big areas.
Yeah, exactly. And Luke McDonald,
even Zach Fisher at times last year was doing it. So, but we know that role you can just really rack up Hill, and as you say, he uses it so well. So, plenty of opportunities to score, and ridiculous price for him. Yeah,
I'm very excited. We've got the 2 helmet men running around, Cherry and Daniel. That'd be very exciting. There's actually a Bay. I forgot Bay 49. I think they all wear the helmets for Cherry. So now there's going to be more people with helmets with Caleb Daniel. So that'd be exciting for North.
I regret putting North in this run.
I know. We've already talked about heaps. My one, which I saw later in the show, Al, that you're not too happy with, but I'll get your opinion on it. Matt Flynn, 261,900. If he is, I agree, the best ruck option or the #1 ruck option for West Coast. He's only got a break even of 49. He showed in past seasons where he's played the full season, 2022 and 2023, averaged 84 and 88, and he was averaging around that 4 clearances per game, can do a bit of everything, hit outs to advantage, but he has to play as that #1. If he plays as that #1 ruck, I think he's going to be my flex option. Yeah.
Yeah, well, as you say, tipping off the next segment here, but I just think that's still a big question mark. I guess we'll see the team. So in round 1, if he's named as the ruck, you can probably go with it. But at the moment, I don't think West Coast is even sure who their number 1 ruck is, because in all the preseason games, it's been a bit of him, a bit of Bailey Williams. They've got a kid, Archer Reid. They've given some time in there as well. So, and then Flynn always seems to just come off with a bit of a sore back or something. He's had all these injury worries. So I'm very nervous about that. I think a lot of people are keen on him because if you could get a ruckman at that price who is playing, that's amazing, but I'm just not 100% sure he's going to be the one.
No, that's fair. That is definitely fair. I think I'm just getting stuck. I like how he plays. I like how he barges through the contest there. So that's a few cash cows. Maybe lean towards Garcia and Daniel, and then we'll see how. Flynn
don't
goes.
listen to it.
Yeah, don't listen. I'm just here to host. Don't worry about me. So who to avoid? I'll start with you, Al, because we literally just talked about Matt Flynn. You're right. There's a few other options. Have you got some lower ruck options as well?
Well, I think just a little bit of a warning on these really cheap rucks, because we've got Flynn there. We've got Harry Boyd. A lot of people love him. Come over to St Kilda. Absolutely dominated in the Samful last year, won the McGarry medal. Now Saints have signed him as a backup ruck. And he's playing all through the preseason because Rowan Marshall's not there. But just obviously it's a watch on teams. If Marshall is back for round 1, which they're saying he will be,
Harry Boyd, you don't need him.
I don't think Boyd's. I'm not sure they play 2 rucks, so Boyd might not even be in the team. And I'm seeing Supercoach teams with Boyd on the field at R2.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what are you going to do if the team's coming out for round 1 and he's not even there? So, a bit of a watch on him. And then Liam Reedy's an interesting one at Freo. Looks like he will play as their number 1 ruck. We know Sean Darcy's injured again. But just don't know that he's got the scoring power in him. He's played a couple of games. He played in the Indigenous All-Stars game last week and scored about 50, and he was rucking, the main ruckman there. So I wouldn't want to be relying on that on field either. Maybe on your bench is okay, but just a little bit of an alarm bells on some of these cheap rucks that I'm seeing people pick 1 or even 2 of them. You think I could pick 1 at R2 and 1 in flex, and it leaves me all this money to spend somewhere else. But might not quite work out as well as people are hoping.
No, I agree. And then we're going to combine them. Who to avoid, and then never again. Who are you never picking again, Al, from last year or the year before?
We talked about it before the show started, and we all wanted to pick one guy, but I think Leo got in first, so he can have him. But I just thought I'd mention Jordan Ridley, who looked really good again last night, and that. I'm locking in Harry Sheasel as my top defender. My second defender, I'm still not sure. I've had quite a few guys go
Luke
through
Ryan
there.
And then
Sinclair, and then he got injured. Holmes, but last night he wasn't so good. So, and he's got a bye. So, I'm finding that difficult. And then you see Ridley and think, man, this guy's good. When he plays, he scores. But how long until he goes down next
3 weeks or 4 weeks?
You just can't rely on him, unfortunately. I've had him a couple of times in Supercoach. He gets sucked back in, and then he goes down injured. So, I think just avoid.
Yeah, fair enough. Who are you avoiding and never again?
My beloved James Sicily, 532,000. I just think...
Because he could play forward?
Sam Mitchell, he's been very open about the fact that his role is going to change mid-game. He will probably start in defence where he'll rack up the points.
Swingman.
He plays that swingman position. I've even read that in some match simulation, he's been playing on ball.
Yeah, I did see
I don't know about that.
Well,
he's not quick enough for that, is he?
If I see James Sicily go to a centre bounce, I might change my team. No, I won't do that. But I just think, because his role just worries me a little bit where he's going to play. If you're confident that he's the third defender, then go for it. You do you. Just avoiding for me.
Imagine if he plays on ball and just kills it in Supercoach. Just
wins the Brownlow.
110 on ball.
He'll probably do that next week in opening round.
And then everyone will get in. Actually, I hope he doesn't do that.
Neither.
Then I'll probably have to pick him. And then never again. I think we all agree on this one. Al's beloved Tigers.
Jaden Short, 442,000. I think it was back-to-back years I got sucked in by him. And there was, I reckon, one pre-season game, he got 43 disposals, and everyone
he was one
jumped
of
on him.
the opening round, traps last year. He put up a massive score.
That's right.
And you're just this is it. He's 530. He's going to be 600,000 by round 3. And
he's dropped 100,000.
He dropped off. I'm going to actually make a big call. We're going to get to a few more, but I reckon Tom Brown will be a higher price than Jaden Short by the end of the year.
I don't mind Tom Brown. Yeah.
What do you think about that, Al? As a Tigers man.
I mean...
I don't like it.
I don't know if any Richmond players are going to be over about 500 grand, but I just wouldn't be going near most Tigers, really. Maybe if there's someone cheap who plays, but even they're sort of thin on the ground at the moment too. So, I'm just steering clear of all Richmond players, really, because, the theory, I think, is that, the ball's going to be in the back line a lot, so that's good for Jaden Short, but it was down there a lot last year too. And
exactly.
I'm not really sure why his scoring really dropped off, so until I can kind of figure that out, I'm not prepared to go there again.
I think the only Richmond, I brought in just a sneaky Tom Lynch, because his break-even is 30. and he could
until he gets injured.
Yeah, until he gets injured. But like, if he kicks a couple of goals, gets you 15 touches, he's gonna go up in price. But that's still a little bit risky as well because he's got the most brittle bones.
Lucky you have the flex.
Yeah, the flex. Yeah, that's not a bad option actually. There we go. My avoid is Riley Sanders.
I don't know if I agree with this one.
Riley Sanders is 339,000. I just think I'm unsure of his role and unsure of how Bevo will coach this side. As usual, we always talk about Bulldogs players getting Bevoed. Riley Sanders got Bevoed. He'd be in for a game and he'd be out for a game. I think he'll get more game time this year, but you got Bont, Libba, Richard stepped up last year. They got Kennedy now on their list. So then
you need a fifth mid.
That's the fifth mid for 339,000. I don't know. I'm not that keen on him, and I just reckon Bevo. He got 19 touches, not 20. So you're out, mate. Like, I just don't trust Bevo.
Do we wait for Bevo to be sacked to get him in? Like as soon as Bevo's sacked, Riley Sanders' stocks just rise incredibly. Yeah.
What do you reckon, Al?
Yeah, I mean, I love him as a player.
Yeah.
But, it does strike me as a guy who could be a classic Supercoach preseason tease where he dominated in the midfield. But you look at that game, Bont didn't play, Libba didn't play.
Yeah.
So we really need to see their whole best midfield and where exactly Sanders fits into that.
Yeah, so that's why I'm avoiding. And then never again, this is a bit of a rogue one, but Matt Rao, 550,000. I think every season, I just love how he plays. I love how he just randomly eats grass. He's a strange guy. I love everything about him. He just shows glimpses of stardom, even in preseason he always does. But I think Anderson, Miller, they can score big. And he's just always going to stay around that 100-point mark or 105. I don't think he can go to that next level, which I want him to. But yeah, I'm a bit worried about him.
Matt Rao absolutely killed me last year in Supercoach, but he's currently in my team.
Oh, he's in your team?
Which is, I mean, I only brought him in the other day, and it's just playing around with his whether he will stay there, I don't know. But I had a bit of a theory that maybe just the way that he plays, he always flies out of the gate in the first 5-6 rounds of the season.
That's true.
And then, I don't know if he just runs out of gas and he's cooked after that. Yeah. That's unfortunately when everyone tries to bring him in Supercoach. So maybe you get in, and the Gold Coast draw actually early is really good. They play West Coast in the first game, and his record against West Coast is insane.
Just bringing him for round one.
Yeah, and then they've got Richmond a couple of weeks after that. So I could see a couple of really big scores for him early on, and then maybe decide what to do with him when he starts to run out of puff.
Yeah, so I still like you, Matt Rao, but it's not in my Supercoach team at the moment. All right, we've covered a lot already, but we're going to finish off. Second last, we're going to finish off after that with this or that with Al. But before that, big call for Supercoach AFL 2025. We've got a couple in here. You two have got two each, so very nice. Al, what are your big calls for 2025?
The first one I've got is that Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera will average 115 this year. I mean, I just love the way Naz has played. These first 2 years, he's improved 20 or 30 points on average each year. Yep. And, whether he'll make that huge jump again this year, but I think he can add another 10 points to his average. There was a podcast, I think, over the preseason where Brad Hill was interviewed and someone asked, what's St Kilda's game plan? Bringing the ball out of defence, and his answer was give it to Naz and let him cook.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
To me, that's just, lock him in. Brilliant user of the ball. The Saints love to get it to him. I can just see him going to another level this year.
Yeah, lovely. And you got another one there?
Well, the other one I had was, I think Riley Sanders fits in this same boat, and I'm going to chuck Colby McKercher in there too. He's another one in defence who's, a bit of a tempting price. We mentioned, he's had that really nice role at North in the past, but this year moving further up the ground. But, I mean, I really love him as a player. I think there'll be a patch during the year, maybe, a month, where he goes on an absolute tear and averages, 130. I just can't tell you when that's going to be, unfortunately. So it makes it very hard to pick him, and then we'll probably all jump on then, and then he'll get moved somewhere else on the ground. That's the problem with these guys. But, he's an absolute gun, and, I think we'll definitely be picking him next year, maybe in, future years in Supercoach, but maybe not quite confident enough to do it this year.
Yeah, no, I really I think you're right, because he could have that month, but then he could randomly get a 90 or an 80, and then Clarko plays him mid or wing or half. He's very versatile, which is good for a team, but not always for
good for his development.
Yeah.
But exactly. In Supercoach, we like to know exactly what they're going to do every week.
Yeah, and I love Nas. I've had him the last couple of years. I just love watching him play. So very good. Average 115, don't mind it. Leo, what's your big call?
Well, my first big call, Finn Callahan, 441,000. He's just been on the mind ever since he turned down
17 million. He's not worth 17 million.
He's going to be worth 17 million in Supercoach by the end of the... No, he's not. I think he'll be a top 15 midfielder. So that's averaging around 105, 110 by the end of the season. I think in terms of team-wise, like for GWS, I think he could challenge Tom Green to be the best midfielder. Like he's going to be an A grader, and I think he's going to break out this season.
They've had a few go out of that team. So
yes, and I think Callie and Canelio, they're going to be strong for him, but they're just sort of little bit on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
So I reckon Callahan will become the guy for him and have a really strong Supercoach season.
I like it.
My other one, Blake Hardwick.
This is random.
This is very random. 406,000. He will just have a 150-point game.
What? Where's he getting 150?
He he will play forward at times and he will have like a 6-goal, 10-mark game where he goes at 100% and he'll somehow get 150.
Sicily could do that. Maybe.
Yeah, Sicily.
Oh, yeah, maybe. No, I'm not saying to get Hardwick in your team. I just think he will have like a huge game because he has been playing forward in preseason.
Yep.
And I think they want to use that a bit more. Like Mitchell wants to use that a little bit more, the versatility to play him back and forward. So just a little one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I like that. But like, I like the first one. I like Finn Callahan, top 15. But then, like, Harvey, come on.
It's a big call.
Yeah, it is a big call. There we go. My big call is that Isaac Rankin will, I'm going to up it even more. 115 plus points he's going to average. I think he's going to play a lot of midfield. Even when he goes forward, he knows how to kick a goal. Just please don't get reported, injured. Don't hit someone. Don't step on someone. I just want him to stay healthy so they can keep going up in points, keep going up in value. I think he's going to be the number 1 forward in Supercoach.
Number 1?
Yep, I think so. Because you got Horn Francis,
Caleb Daniel.
Do you reckon he could be up there?
Smith, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I think a lot of it comes down to the midfield time. Just nervous how many midfielders the Crows have. I've got James Peatling in my team at the moment. I think he's a really nice price. And you think, he comes over from GWS and he'll go straight in and play in the Crows midfield. But when you think of how many guys they have to go through there, it might not be quite as much as I was hoping. So, and we haven't really seen them yet in the preseason with Rankin played in the Indigenous All-Stars game. And then I think he was ill for their practice game last week. So I really want to see all of them together. But yeah, the potential is definitely there.
Yeah, that's my big call. Come on, Rankin. Just do it for my forward line because I'm always worried about my forward line. All right, Al, we're going to finish off with this or that. We do this sometimes on the socials. Leo loves doing this. Actually, do you want to read it out to Al, Leo?
Oh, you're going to give me the
honor. Yeah, you like doing these for the socials. So we'll go this or that for Supercoach players.
Supercoach ability, who you're picking, Isaac Rankin or Jason Horne-Francis?
This is a huge call this year because I've seen teams with both and teams with neither, which is sort of where I am at the moment just because there's so much value in the forward line with the cheapies. And there's actually quite a good crop of rookies in the forward line this year too with guys like Kako and even Tom Lynch if you want to pick him. Sam Davidson from the Dogs I think is a really good one. So it's can you fit them in? If I had to pick one of the two, I really like your call on Rankin and I have been running with this line of not picking Horne-Francis all preseason, but I don't know if I'm going to make it to round 1, to be honest. He looks so good.
He does look good.
Yeah, I think I might have to pick him. But again, it's a matter of how many midfielders Port Adelaide have, but with Butters going out, I might have to capitulate, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Next one, Max Holmes or Nas?
Yeah, no, we love Nas, but I like Holmes as well. He didn't do much in the Pracky game last night, but I wouldn't be too worried about that. Yeah, he's going to be an absolute gun, but especially with Geelong having that really tricky early bye, and the Saints have a great fixture. They don't have a bye early on, and the bye they have later on is that one where there's only the 2 teams, so makes it a bit easier. So, yeah, I like trying to fit a few Saints into my team, and, he's definitely up there.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Harvey Langford or Finn O'Sullivan?
We can't have another North player, can we?
No. There's too many North.
No more North.
I agree with that.
And, again, just where does he play? Like I think maybe he's going to come in on a wing, which is not necessarily ideal. If we saw Clarko slotting him at halfback, like he did with Sheasel and Colby, then I'd be very interested. But I think Langford is the guy for me.
Nice.
And last one, Clayton Oliver or Will Ashcroft? Considering one was your must-have.
Yeah.
I wrote this
in.
before that. Yeah.
Will has been in and out of my team at different stages. I think, great player. Obviously, won the Norm Smith medal, so that's not exactly a breaking insight, but. Again, tricky round 3 bye. Just have to see how many of those guys you can pick. But, I think he'll go really well. But Clary's a no-brainer.
Yeah, love it.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think I agree with you on all of them. That's good. Hopefully you learned something from Al here today. Maybe not from us too, but hopefully you learned something from Al.
I'm just putting Blake Hardwick in my team.
Yeah, Blake Hardwick.
If you're taking one thing from this show.
Which round is he going to get 150?
When they're playing Richmond.
Yeah, good point. Probably. All right, that'll do us for the AFL Today Show. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe to AFL Today Show on YouTube. Get around us on X, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I think it's AFL Today AU on most of the socials, Leo. For footy content all season long. Subscribe, like all the shows, especially Cricket Today Show, AFL Today Show, Hold All Tickets, True Blood's jumping on. They had Dean Cox on last week. Have they got anyone else coming up, Alex? Possibly a few ones coming through. Thank you so much, Al, for jumping on. Supercoach expert, Al. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Great for having me. And just, you've mentioned plenty already there, but Code Sports YouTube is where all our official Supercoach content is this year. Lots of, just been pumping it out over the preseason and plenty more to come before round 1 in, I think, 15 days.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jump on Code Sports for all the Supercoach articles as well. They're all really awesome. Thank you very much, Leo.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, great to be here. Great to have you back. Thank you very much to Joe behind the camera. And that's another episode of AFL Today. Wait.